This lesson is all about the marketing mix, or the 4 Ps, and as you can see on the diagram above, the 4 Ps are price, place, promotion and product. The objectives of this lesson for marketing mix: you'll be able to understand what the marketing mix is, you'll understand in detail the key aspects of the 4 main areas of the marketing mix, which are the 4 Ps, and lastly you'll be able to understand the importance of all the elements, or all the 4 elements of the marketing mix, and demonstrate how they can be used separately and also together to influence the marketing strategy. So the marketing mix is a mix of resources that our business uses to try to get potential customers to buy their product. So it's a mix of 4 key aspects or key areas that a business considers to try and get their customers to buy their products. So there's 4 Ps, as mentioned before, of the marketing mix, and the first is product. This is basically what is actually going to be sold. So are there going to be trainers, an Apple iPod, whatever the product or service is going to be. Price, this basically means how much you're going to sell the product for. Promotion is how are you going to tell customers about your product. And place, where are the products available and how does the business get the products to the customer. Is it going to be in a shop? Are you going to do postal? Or are you going to deliver it? So we're going to go back to the 4 Ps again, and this time we're going to go into more detail. So we're going to start with product. This is where this is what the customer gets basically. Obviously in a shop you get a physical good, but a product doesn't have to be a thing, or it can also be a service. So a mechanic isn't selling his product, is actually the service he's providing. So the fact that he's fixing your car is the product. So in terms of the product then, there's key aspects that a business needs to consider in terms of designing that product. And the first one is customer requirements. So what does the customer need? And if you think back at market research, it's all about what does the customer want and how can we provide that in our product. Obviously the product quality and reliability, the cost, the product range. So are you going to have some after sales service? Are you going to give a guarantee? And USPs, which is also known as unique selling points. What is so unique about your product that's going to make customers buy it? Price is all about how much you're going to charge for the product, and also how much customers are going to be willing to pay. There's a lot of pricing strategies that you need to be aware of. There's cost plus pricing, penetration pricing, price skimming, competitive pricing, and what we're going to do is look at the 4 main types into more detail. And this is all about pricing in terms of the marketing mix. So cost plus pricing is basically where you add the percentage of profit to the total cost of making the product, and this gives you a selling price. So if it costs you £100 to make a product, what you would do, for example, is do a 10% markup. So a 10% of the cost is £10, and you'd add that, and the total price would then be the cost plus the 10% markup, and that would be £110. So you're taking a percentage of the cost and adding it on to the cost, so that you get a final price. Penetration pricing, this is basically where you sell a product lower than the competition, and this is often used by companies to break into a new market, and it's only used as a short-term strategy. So if you're struggling in the market to get your way in and customers are buying other products because they don't really know your product, you can use penetration pricing and really make your product cheap so that customers come to you just for the short term. So a lot of special offers, half price discounts gets the customers in, but you can't do this on a long term basis because you wouldn't make enough profit. Price skimming, this is where if you've got a brand new latest product, the company takes advantage of the high demand, especially new latest gadgets. When they're new and out in the market, especially mobile phones, the company can use price skimming where they set a really high charge and they make as much money at the beginning. Of course, as time goes on, the product or the price of the product gets lower. So if you think of the iPod launch, when it first came out, they were charging 250 quid. That same iPod now you can pick it up for 110 quid. So what they did was they used price skimming to get as much money as they can in the beginning, because they knew the demand for the iPod was going to be very high at the beginning. And competitive pricing, this is where a company looks at its competitors and sees how much they charge and uses that information to also make a decision on how much they're gonna charge. So for example, with the milk, Tesco, they charge £1.69 for milk. Asda might look at that and compare and say, we'll sell it at about the same price as well. Promotion is how you're going to tell customers about your product. Okay, so how do the customers know about your product? And so you're communicating with them, telling them what your product's going to be and what's so good about it. And you can do that through adverts, leaflets, special offers, sponsorship, and demonstrations. Okay, these are a whole list of ways that you can promote your product. Place is where people are going to buy the product, and very importantly, and you need to know this, channels of distribution. How does the customer get the product? Does the customer go to the shop and get it product over a counter? Are you going to deliver the product to your customer, or are you going to post your product to your customer? Some businesses don't even have a shop, like Amazon.com for example. They provide lots of books and magazines and videos. They haven't got a shop. You don't go to a shop to buy it. You buy it online and they deliver or post it to you. So place is all about considering where people are going to buy the product from and where you're going to distribute the product and how. So we've looked at marketing mix, we've looked at the key aspects of the four main areas, so the 4 P's. What we're now going to do is to look at the importance of all the elements and how a business uses these separately but also together in terms of a marketing strategy. So the marketing mix, it's all about getting the right balance of the 4 P's, and it's called the marketing mix because the 4 P's need to be mixed in the correct way and amounts for the product to be marketed successfully. So of course the type of business will affect the amount of each of the 4 P's. So for example, if it's a small unknown company, they may need to do a bit more on the promotion side. So you can see the mix there will be slightly higher in the promotion aspect. If you were to have an equal amount for each of the 4 P's, you have 25% for each of the 4 P's. The marketing mix is closely related to market research. Your market research will tell you what mixture you need for your marketing mix. So if your market research tells you that no one's heard of your product, then that tells you that you need to do more promotion. Also, if your market research tells you that your product is too expensive compared to the competition, your market research tells you that obviously your price, you need to consider it and look at maybe competitive rate pricing. So we've learned about marketing mix, we've learned about the 4 P's, and we've learned about the mixture of the marketing mix, and also how companies need to use these together when it comes to making a marketing strategy.